Hello, everyone. Esha, we can't hear you, and I don't know why because I could hear you before. Esha, we can't hear you. All right, so she'll be back up. So Booker's running a little late, so we will have him coming on. So what we're going to do is just discuss a couple of things, and then we will get into maybe some theory reading until we can get Booker on here. But now we're waiting for Ansha. I guess we're just having issues all around. So hold on a minute. Let me just see what's going on with her because she was perfectly fine until we went live. And then her voice dropped. Let me see. I'm hoping we don't have issues with her. Oh, here she is. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Now is everything better?
Yes, all better. I explained that Booker's running late, that we were just going to discuss a couple of things.
We don't really have an audience yet, so
Okay.
So we'll just kind of stay tuned until we get an audience. So we'll just kind of chill.
Yeah. So yeah, like so you were.
This morning I was on a Russian TV show,
Yeah.
and we spoke about so what happened was that there are these two pranksters named Velvan and Lexus, and they repeatedly call up various government officials and pretending to be somebody, like, for example, this time they called up Mike Pompeo pretending to be Petro Poroshenko, and they end up getting through, and then they get them to spill the guts. And so Mike Pompeo spilled the guts recently on how he wants to prosecute the Ukraine war till the end. And he doesn't want to cede any territory, whatnot. And so I commented on that. And basically, even though Trump says something like, oh, we're going to have Europe pay their fair share for NATO and all that nonsense, ultimately, when it comes down to it, he's going to be just another neocon.
Oh, yeah. Like you were saying, like Trump is Reagan. So
my article is going to come out soon. I've compared because Kamala Harris actually is properly pronounced. It's Kamala. Because Kamala means lotus in many Indian languages. She basically touted the endorsement of 17 Reagan officials. And it's like, come on, Ronald Reagan is absolutely 100% worse than Trump in every imaginable way.
Yeah.
He started his campaign in Neshoba County, Mississippi, where these civil rights workers got brutally murdered by the KKK. And he went there to talk about the states' rights. And he also started this baseless rumor about welfare queens. So it's basically this lady who allegedly gets welfare from using 5 different identities. And she's like living like a queen, but that's just, we're 0 cases. And it's just like the same as they like to eat dogs and cats.
Yeah. It's the same place. And someone was bringing up, I mean, the fact that Kamala keeps using, the rhetoric from the October 7th that has been debunked.
About the babies and the rape game, the Hamas. Yeah, when literally they found 0 cases of it, and the only witness was an IDF agent.
Yeah. It's like it's the same thing. Like they are doing the same thing. They're fear mongering about a people that and yeah, I mean it's ridiculous because I don't like Trump at all, and I don't like Kamala, but like people, they keep going, how can you say that they're the same?
They're not the same in that I think that domestically she'll be more conciliatory towards unions, and she'll probably is not going to do the same kind of tax cuts as Trump, but she probably won't roll back anything that Trump has done. She definitely won't vote for the PRO Act or whatnot. So when Trump was in the White House, the Democrats would put forward Medicare for all every other week because they knew he was going to veto it. Ever since Biden's been in the White House, they've never put forward Medicare for all.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just the games that they play. But like the taxes, I think didn't I just read recently that she is basically I don't know, not doing she's going to pull back on the tax things that even Biden was saying, like she's even going to be better for the corporations from.
Okay, so one of the good things that Biden did is nominate Lena Khan for antitrust prosecutions, and she has done a lot of antitrust regulations, so monopoly, price fixing, etc. And now she was getting pushback from the donors, like, oh, that's going too far. So it seems like she won't nominate somebody like Lena Khan for antitrust regulations.
Yeah.
So she is running a very moderate campaign, but I think Trump has lost a step since 2016. He's not as sharp as he was in 2016.
No, not at all. And
in 2016, for example, I remember the debate where Hillary Clinton said something about TPP, and she's like, I won't do TPP, and NAFTA is the worst thing that has ever happened to me, and it's the worst thing. And I think that was the debate where I knew he was going to win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. I was like, oh, she's so lost it. And I haven't seen him do that in this debate. He hasn't. And I think it's because he was really, really preparing to run against Biden, and he hasn't been able to mentally shift gears because he's lost a step.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think maybe that was even part of it. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the Democrats kind of did this on purpose. Like, kind of knew that they weren't really going to go with Biden in the end of it. Like,
I don't know. I think they were going to go with Biden. They kind of wanted. They thought like they could hide Biden's senility a bit more. At least the Biden campaign, and then in the other debate, the first debate, it just was so out in the open that he was not there. He was like, he confused COVID with Medicare for all. He was just not there, and I think that's when they panicked.
Yeah, but I think they had a plan. I think they were starting the plan before that. Like I feel like they were ready to just like do what they did, but they made it look like they weren't ready for it. You know what I mean?
They're not that together.
No.
And Kamala Harris is not prepared. Like it's not like attacking enough to have been prepared before it.
Yeah, you're probably right. I haven't been paying that much attention to.
I haven't, but I just don't overestimate their competence. Like they're not that competent.
Yeah. The other thing, like on the Bush admin, like the Cheney and the Gonzalez, supporting her too from Georgia. And as someone had pointed out that during the summer, they dropped from their platform. The Democrats dropped their platform that they had against torture. Like it's not that you can't find it on their platform.
I haven't verified it, but I wouldn't be surprised. So usually before I put these claims that I read on the internet, I usually verify it.
I looked and it's true.
Oh, okay. Okay. Was it there before?
It was there before. There's a copy of what was there before. It's in the way back, and then if you search for it on their site right now, it wasn't coming up. I mean, that was a few days ago. So
that's very interesting.
They may have put something else up, but maybe they were working on it. But I don't know. Normally, you would leave your old policy until you have your new policy up. But I don't know.
Well, Kamala Harris, she has not put up any policy in her thing.
Yeah, her website is no policy. So.
Yeah. Although I'm a little surprised with Tim Walz. From Minnesota, he actually has done progressive things in Minnesota, so I'm surprised she picked him.
Yeah, there has to be. I mean, there's definitely a reason. But like, she wanted to go further right, so. I think they figured if they had the VP that was like that, they did the same thing with Biden, thinking that she was like the progressive one, but now that she has to take the role of being the, more conservative and more centrist and stuff like that, because, she's going to be the president and fulfill, because
Yeah.
Biden was the best president ever, but she's going to go and fix everything Biden did wrong, though he was the best president ever.
No, I can't believe people like he has been to the right of Nixon in everything, to be honest.
Yeah. So maybe it was just like that, and thinking that maybe that would, appease the progressives enough. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't like. There's people that are just convinced because when she came out, like there was, of course, this big bump for her, and I was like, that's the big bump of her coming out. Like
I think it's just basically not Biden. People were just a lot of the Democratic base were just happy it's not Biden.
Yeah.
And anyone in that position would have gotten the same bump.
Yeah. So, but the other thing you wanted to talk about was
Oh yeah. So yesterday they arrested somebody in Florida who wanted to assassinate Trump, Ryan Ruth. And the really interesting thing about him is that he fought in the volunteer foreign battalion in Ukraine for a while. He tried recruiting Americans for the Ukrainian militia for the Azov battalion. He was also featured in an Azov ad. So it's very interesting that, that somebody with that many ties to the national security industry is,
doing this. Yeah. It's very. I don't know. Like I joked yesterday that maybe the boost from the first one wasn't working anymore, but this one's just weird. Like it's just. With the Ukraine ties, and there's like a lot of Ukraine ties in Florida too, right? Like
there's a lot of various exiles from other countries and lots of places in Florida.
Yeah.
The Gusanos from Cuba and other places, and Juan Guaido people, and
yeah.
So that's kind of. By the way, for those of you who just joined us, Booker is going to join us a little bit late, so we're just kind of killing time. But
did you want to read some theory if you don't want to talk?
Yeah, we could read some theory. Why not? Let's see. Let's go.
I hate talking about recent events. I don't know why. I've been doing these shows for so long. I'm just like, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Well, okay, so do we want to, let's see, what do we want to, I'm just picking a random volume. This one's good. Cadets on sensible compromise and two camps. Let me send it to you, Janet. The Cadets is the Constitutional Democratic Party. And
you want me to show it on screen? I can do that.
Yeah, nah, we don't have to show it on screen. Let's just send the link. Okay, I just sent it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it up in YouTube. Hold on.
Okay, this is very relevant. Okay. You start. No, I'll start. Okay. The answer given by Rech to the semi-official organ of the cabinet on the question of the slogan for the elections to the Fourth Duma and on the present-day political alignment represents an interesting and significant phenomenon. Rech agrees with Russkaya Vedomosti. Rech means speech and Russkaya Vedomosti means Russian view. And basically they are talking about the elections to the Duma. And they are pretending that there are only two candidates, Cadets, which are the constitutional Democrats, and rightists, which are just like czarist officials. And so, okay, that the election to the Fourth Duma will be a contest between two camps only, the progressists and the right. Votes will have to be cast not for parties nor for individuals, candidates, but for or against the consolidation of the Russian constitutional system. There was no constitutional system back then. Cadets kind of wanted a constitutional monarchy, and the rightists just wanted pure monarchy. So there's no, it's just like talking about something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Consolidation is a very charming way of putting it. The political meaning of this slogan is an objective acknowledgement of the indisputable fact that the line pursued by the government has again united the entire opposition, both to the right and to the left of the cadets. This is coding. Okay. The cadets will constitute the center group of this politically heterogeneous group, and although they will form part of it, they will renounce their former program and tactics just as little as did the Social Democrats when they joined the pre-October alliances. So the cadets are saying, oh, we're joining the far right, but we're still going to have our progressive, we're not renouncing our progressive platform. And it's like, yeah, come on. We believe you.
Do you want me to read so you can, and then you can give comment or?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Gentlemen, we can say in reply to the semi-official and official press, it is you, yourselves, who have been instrumental in uniting us. At present, political trends in Russia are merging to an ever greater extent in two big camps, for and against the Constitution. Our task at present is the same, again, the same, just as it was before October 17th.
They're coding the cadets. Okay, go on.
In assessing these observations, we must distinguish between the conditions attending the elections to the Fourth Duma and the social and political meaning of the changes under discussion, the slogan and the alliance. The circumstances of the elections in general, in the provinces in particular, will certainly compel the opposition to resort to the vague non-party term progressists on an even wider scale than before. The refusal to legalize even such parties as the cadets will inevitably lead to this, and the bewilderment of the semi-official organ of the cabinet on this score is, of course, nothing but sheer hypocrisy. In the big cities, for instance, as the cadets themselves admit in that very same editorial, independent candidates of groups more to the left, that's in parentheses, to use the expression of the Ruskaya Vedomosti, will stand for election. This alone shows that there can be no question of just two camps.
So yeah, they're pretending that they're just two camps and no one more progressive than cadets exists, but obviously that's not true.
Further, Wretch.
Mm-hmm.
Further, Wretch thought it best completely to forget the existence of a worker curia, as provided by the present election laws.
Okay, so hold on. So in the Tsarist system, there were these different curias. So if you were a worker, you'd vote in the worker curia, and you'd get like so many seats, which is like in the Duma. But then if you were a noble, you got 60 seats. And so it's kind of like $1, one vote, like 1 ruble. Yeah. Wealthy people just got more representation there.
A curia is just like a little group.
Electoral college.
Electoral college, okay. Finally, with regard to the elections in the villages, the peasant curia, it must be said that here even the words progressists will undoubtedly be avoided. But it will probably not be the cadets who will constitute the actual center of the politically heterogeneous or politically undefinable groups. What then does the talk about two camps amount to? To the fact that it pleases the cadets, in speaking of the present political situation, to narrow down their field of vision to include only those elements that constitute the majority of the Third Duma.
So that's kind of like blocking the Overton window that the Democrats do that all the time too.
Yeah. The cadet gentlemen are willing to recognize as political camps only that insignificant section of the population represented by these elements. Hitherto, the main division in this small corner created by the coup d'etat of June 3rd has been the rights of the Octoberists, the cadets. It is well known that the character of the Third Duma was determined in the final analysis by two majorities, the rights with the Octoberists and the Octoberists with the cadets. Now, according to the forecast of Ruskaya Vedomosti, with which REC is in agreement, these three elements will be divided into two camps, the rights and the progressists. I don't like saying that word.
Yeah.
So we fully admit that these predictions of the liberals are based not on the wishes of the liberals alone, but on objective facts as well, on the changes in the political situation and in the political sentiments of the Russian bourgeoisie. It would be impermissible, however, to forget that one can speak of two camps only when the field of observation is limited to the majority in the Third Duma.
And not the whole population in general.
Yeah. It would be impermissible to forget that the actual meaning of all this talk is nothing more than the tendency on the part of the Octoberists and the cadet camps to draw closer together, merge and unite in the progressist camp.
In a more centrist way.
Yeah, with the tacit understanding, of course, that a more or less considerable section of the Octoberist camp will defect to the camp of the rights. When the cadets say, "We have been united again, we have one task," etc., these words, "we," "us," "are," actually mean nothing more than the Octoberists and the cadets. Yeah, that sounds about right. They only believe that it's the blue and the red team. Nobody else exists in the world.
Exactly.
Now, what has united them? What is their task? What is their slogan for the elections to the Fourth Duma? The consolidation of the Constitution, reply Ruskaya Vedomosti and REC. This reply is only seemingly definite. Actually, it defines absolutely nothing.
Yep, because at this point there was no constitution. So it's like you might as well talk about how many fairies are dancing on the top of a pin.
It amounts to the same absolutely meaningless reference to some indefinite mean between the Octoberists and the cadets. For both
Milyukov is an Octoberist, Guchkov is a cadet, and Milyukov later becomes like one of the 14 interim prime ministers in 1917.
That name before, yeah. And Guchkov agree that thank God we have a constitution.
They don't.
When they dream of making common cause, it is for the purpose of consolidating, not what we have, but what we have not. It is also a dream, and not a very sensible one at that Milyukov and Guchkov, the cadets and the Octoberists of today, and the progressists of tomorrow could agree on the definite definition of what should be included in the desired constitution. They would be unable to agree either on a legal on the legal formulations expressing the Constitution, or on defining what real interests of what actual classes this Constitution should meet and safeguard. Hence, the real meaning of this joint slogan amounts to this. While they have been drawn more closely together by a negative aim that of the struggle against the common enemy, as Retsch puts it in the same editorial, the Octoberists and the cadets cannot define their positive tasks, cannot find in their camps the forces that would be capable of emerging from the deadlock.
Okay, that's because you can't have a czar and a constitution. So you like if you were a brave person, you'd just say, "Oh, we'll get rid of the czar. We'll have a constitution."
Yeah.
And they can't do that, so they're just like kind of dancing around this.
The observations of Reck on the subject of a sensible compromise in connection with another matter are a
More.
very or a matter or a very clearly expressed admission that they are indeed in a state of deadlock, that it is necessary to emerge from this state, that it is necessary for both Octoberists and the cadets, and that after they have emerged, both will be absolutely impotent by themselves.
Obviously, because like I said, the contradiction is our constitution. You can't have both.
During the debate in the Duma on the St. Petersburg sewage system, we read in the editorial in Rec of October, I mean, now I'm saying October because the Octoberist, but Rec of January 20th, the unhealthy undercurrent of the controversy was somewhat lessened, and even the center, i.e. the Octoberists, found it possible to accept the sensible compromise which the People's Freedom Group proposed and that the municipality accepted. But the interference of P.A. Stolypin.
He's the one of the Tsarist like cabinet members.
Yeah, I think I've seen that name too before. Rudely tore away the veil. You, messieurs cadets, would like vexed questions to remain hidden under a veil, wouldn't you? And reveal the same old background with which everybody has been disgusted for some time, that of the political struggle of the state against the municipality. The liberal bourgeoisie, in the guise of an innocent, oh, how innocent, person, dreaming of sensible compromises on a businesslike, non-political basis, and the representatives of the old non-constitutional principles in the role of political educators who tear down the veils and reveal the class background. A sensible compromise, the liberals muses, means that what the cadets, the Octoberists, and the non-party bigwigs of capital, the St. Petersburg municipality, have agreed upon may be conceded. There is nothing sensible in the idea of our yielding to you. The government replies, the only sensible thing is that you yield to us.
Yeah, liberals always do this. They love sensible compromises with right wing. So the czar's like, nah, I don't think so. This is just an advisory Duma.
I mean, you just scratch a liberal, you know.
Yeah.
The minor question of the sanitation of St. Petersburg, of the distribution of the responsibilities and rights between local self-government and autocratic government, became the occasion for the elucidation of truths of no mean importance. What, indeed, is more sensible, the wishes, dreams, and demands of the whole bourgeoisie, or the power of, say, the Council of the United Nobility? In the eyes of the Rec, as well as the whole cadet party, the criterion of the wisdom of a compromise is in its approval by men of affairs, businessmen, bigwigs, the Octoberists themselves, the wire pullers of the St. Petersburg municipality themselves. But the actual state of affairs, no matter how it is furbished up with phrases like, thank God we have a constitution, unmasks these compromises and tears away these veils rather rudely. To sum up, you have been instrumental in uniting us, Wretch says to the semi-official organ of the cabinet. Who do they mean by us? It appears that they mean the Octoberists and the cadets. What have they united for? For a common task, the consolidation of the Constitution. And what are we to understand by the Constitution and its consolidation? A sensible compromise between the Octoberists and the cadets. What, in the criterion of the wisdom of compromises is of this kind? Their approval by the worst representatives of Russian Kolopayev.
Yeah, he's like a banker.
Capitalism. such as the St. Petersburg municipal councilors. And what is the practical result of these sensible compromises? The result is that P.A. Stolypin, or the Council of State, or Tomachov, etc.,
Those are Tsarist officials.
rudely unmask these compromises. Oh, these practical positions. But will there not be a third camp at the elections to the Fourth Duma? One that realizes how senseless, ridiculous, and naive is the cadet policy of sensible compromise. What do you think of that, gentlemen of in Ruskaya? Rich in Ruskaya.
Rich means speech in Russian, literally. Rich. That sounds very familiar, basically.
Yeah. And
like,
it's just like, he's referring to the Social Democrat, like his party. Like, in the end, he's like, will there be another, you know what I mean? Is that what he's doing? Yeah.
No, he's just like explaining how cadets always talk about, like, they're centrist Democrats. They'll always like, oh, we're going to sensibly compromise with Tsarist officials. And the Tsarist officials are like, go away. And they're like, oh, here's this little incremental measure. And then the Tsarist officials are like, no, we won't do that. We'll just stick to what we want to do.
Yeah, basically.
And so it's not possible to sensibly compromise with reactionaries, with people in power. And yeah, and then Lenin also has another article about how, like, liberals are weak and reactionaries are strong, and it's by design, because liberals always want to compromise with everything, and it's like so annoying because, like, bipartisanship. But it's not. They want to compromise because that way they don't have to serve the people, basically.
Yeah, well, then if they're in the position of always compromising, they're not at fault, because
it's always Joe Manchin's fault or something like that.
Yeah, they always have an excuse for it. It's like, I was fighting with someone over the ACA, and I'm like, the ACA originated as a Republican,
Romney passed ACA in Massachusetts.
Yeah. So I'm like, it was a Republican. It came from Heritage Foundation. Much of it. Obama even admitted that it was a Republican plan. And
they didn't even try for anything like public option. They could have tried for public option. Obviously, if you have public option, eventually everyone's going to choose the public option, and the private insurance is going to go. But they didn't even try, and they had enough votes.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's and all these people in their heads, they're like, no, that was Obama. Like, it's so great. Like, there's so many liberal people who think that the ACA is a good plan, a healthcare plan, and it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it is meant to get more and more expensive. It's not meant to give universal healthcare. And basically, a lot of people are like paying the fines instead of getting the healthcare, and a lot of the healthcare. So there are some good things from the ACA, like pre-existing condition coverage, and what else? Staying on the insurance till you're 27-6 or something. But those affect such a small margin of people. Like, there's no prescription drug negotiation. Like, the government didn't take the right to set drug prices. I mean, there's so much they could have done that they didn't.
For my asthma medicine, for the asthma medicine I need to take, the insurance company that I had when I was working wouldn't cover it. Like, it was the one that kept me frigging breathing, and they refused to cover it. So that's the way they got it. I had to pay out of pocket for it anyhow. And I pay out of pocket now for my prescriptions, because even though I'm disabled, I'm only getting my SSI. I don't get full benefits on everything. So
that makes sense. I mean, when I look at the price of medication here in Russia, I get so pleasantly surprised, because the government here sets the prices, and and it's like you don't have to pay the arm and a leg, or like some medication can cost thousands of dollars for some people.
Oh yeah. It's I mean,
and that's with insurance coverage.
Yeah, my father's insulin finally came down. He was still paying a huge amount, and they finally, that was one thing. Well, I guess Trump started it, but then Biden put it on hold. So it just went through for my father like this summer.
Is it $35?
Yeah, he's only paying $35 for his insulin now.
That's great.
He was paying hundreds of dollars before that. So on insurance,
Yeah, he's on Medicare, Medicare, right?
Not even just that. He has. My mom was a teacher, so he's still on the state insurance and stuff like that. So he was, she worked for this, in the public school. So she ended up getting, and they can hold on to, like, state workers can hold on to that insurance for pretty cheap. So it doesn't cost him too much. So he has a whole nother insurance on top of the Medicare.
Oh, wow. Hold on. Let me get some more juice.
Yeah. And then that's just another thing that people don't understand too, is like, you're on Medicare, you still have costs. They don't cover everything. You still have to buy the medicines and stuff like that. So sometimes you can get like coverage from a third party or something like that, but it's not like they're covering everything for the elderly. And they expect a lot of elderly people to have secondary insurance too. Like my aunt had to carry secondary insurance for hers. So
yeah, I mean, so you're right, and it's such a horrible, like it's just bad in every single way. And yeah, and basically Obama it could have passed. There was a time when they had 60 votes, but somehow that magically is not enough. Like you need 100 votes, or God knows how many you need.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Brought up
remember the parliamentarian blocked minimum wage or something like that?
Yeah. Like it can't, and then like the whole thing with the student loans and stuff like that. Like there's always an excuse why they couldn't write off the student loans. They actually had like
they can bail out Wall Street loans, and they could use the same quantitative easing. They could use the same thing and just buy up all the student loans, and yeah.
But Daryl says the ACA strips local public schemes down. It actually rations healthcare and privatizes it more, which is true. Like there's almost like a monopoly too. Like the private insurance companies keep buying each other. Like the smaller ones all get bought up too. So
exactly.
So yeah, it's just constantly like that.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's so interesting to see how all Democrats, including AOC, have completely abandoned Medicare for all. Like in 2018, when she ran, she was like, Medicare for all. And now she doesn't even talk about it.
No, they ran on this stuff. They always abandon stuff they ran on. Like, I mean, the whole fact that Obama's big promise to get, the, what is it? What's the parent, what's the abortion?
I know, to codify Roe. Obama. Yeah. And then I found a tweet where Biden said the same thing. Now Harris is saying it. And it's like, yeah, you'll never do it because that's not the purpose of the Democratic Party. The purpose is like, what is their purpose? I don't even know.
I just feel like it's smoke and mirror. Like they're the smoke and mirrors, and then the Republicans just go with the Republicans' plan. I don't know. Like that's what I feel like. They sit there and try to bamboozle the people that there are some people that think about them in the government, and there isn't. That's what I think it is.
They can bamboozle some people, and yeah. And it's like you can see with like Harris too, that she would prefer to win with trying to get modern suburban Republican voters. That way she doesn't have any obligation to progressives.
Exactly. That's what she is totally. I mean, they're touting those like, oh, if Reagan was alive, he'd support me. Like, yeah. Reagan is horrible.
Has Mike Pence endorsed Harris yet?
Like I was saying, like I remember when they all hated Cheney. I remember this, like clearly.
Who did they hate?
When all the Democrats hated Cheney.
Oh yeah, and you know what? They still blame Ralph Nader for for Bush winning, and now you're embracing Cheney, and so once you embrace Cheney, you can't
Yeah,
blame Ralph Nader anymore.
you can't do that. The whole thing with the AOC, like going after the
Jill
Greens.
Stein for some, and the really so sad thing is that in 2018, the Green Party fundraised for her.
I know.
I found it. Like she fundraised with the Green Party, and it's like, so between elections, it looks like they were helping you.
Yeah. I felt kind of bad because, like, I always did the Green Party vote just because I never liked the duopoly. So since like the 90s, I always did third party or, you know, and then
you're in Massachusetts. It doesn't matter how you vote.
So it didn't really matter. So I always did the Green Party vote just as my, I hate the duopoly, like vote. And I was like, I'm not, I do have the Claudia's going to be on our ballot on the PSL. So
nice.
I think that's what I'm going to do because I'll be like, I'm actually voting for a socialist.
Even though they are trots, or they were trots for at one point in time.
Yeah.
You should vote for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with mine. But I think she did well. I feel like, well, the thing that I always got mad about, because like Greens never jumped on stuff. Like they didn't. There's so much that they could be utilizing to like propel themselves right now. They're doing it a little bit more now, but they never did it ever. You know, they kind of stayed quiet, like too quiet at times.
Well, the problem with the Greens is that they don't engage in class politics.
Yeah.
So if they were to embrace class politics, they could be more popular. But their constituencies is suburban wine moms or peta moms or whatever.
Academics.
And so they kind of stay away from class politics.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And like, I mean, the VP, he sounds pretty good. I mean, they'll probably get a few.
He peddled the Uyghur genocide lie.
Huh?
He peddled the Uyghur genocide lie.
Oh, did he? I didn't even see that.
Okay, but he's okay. I mean, he's better than.
I think they may pull in a few. They're still not going to get the numbers. They're not going to get the numbers to, get ballot access and stuff like that. The libertarians, man, I don't know.
Well, there are more people, like more Republicanish people who are disgusted with Trump. And so in 2016 and in 2020, they did Libertarian Party got up to 2 million votes.
Yeah.
And that's because I think that's a lot of disaffected Republicans who find the Libertarian although the Libertarian Party has, I love Libertarian conventions, so they're really funny because they debate on roads and
Libertarians are funny people. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't have they're ideologically inconsistent. They don't have a plan. They don't have an ideology because all of them are ideologically inconsistent.
Yeah.
So it can go anywhere from like a centrist to like a total neo-Nazi, and there's no ideological consistency in the party.
It doesn't pull them all together. It's all individualistic. So
yeah, but like I said, I think that's what they've been writing on for the past 2 elections.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the Libertarians get a little bit more of a vote this year. I don't know.
Well, like I said, they got 2 million for the past 2 elections, and it's kind of funny because Hillary Clinton tried to blame Jill Stein, but if there were no third parties, she'd lose worse because Libertarians pulled more votes from Trump than.
Yeah, she would have. Wouldn't have been. I think the map turned out like she wouldn't have even had like the popular vote or something like that. Like in some states or something like.
Exactly.
The popular vote wouldn't have been, or it wouldn't have been as big. Like it would have been a much smaller, like if you're going to use that mentality, because like someone doesn't have to vote. Like if there's not someone on the ballot, like if I didn't have a third party to vote for and they told me to choose, in 2020 between Biden and Trump, and that's all I could do, I'd be like, I'm not voting either one.
Exactly. No, there's that. But like I said, It's funny, and the Democratic Party is all set to preemptively blame the Republicans for everything. I mean, sorry, the Greens for now.
Yeah, and it's just it's funny, and it's like how hard the Democrats go at the Greens, get them off ballots. You don't hear them going at the Libertarians to get them off ballots. Like you don't hear
exactly.
Like it's always the Green parties. Those are the ones that they're going after, the PSL and Green Party and stuff like that. So
well, in the UK, Keir Starmer tried to go after the Greens, but actually the Greens ended up doing pretty well. They ended up like taking a few Labour seats, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So there was this one lady who basically didn't vote on Palestine. And she claimed that the Green Party lied on her and claimed that she voted against it. And it's like, they didn't lie. They told the truth. You didn't vote for Palestine. And then the Green Party ended up beating her and the Tory and got a seat. And it's like, so in the UK, it was pretty nice to see that.
Yeah. I mean, at least the Greens are like against the genocide. So yeah.
Well, no. In the UK, the Greens are pretty progressive.
Yeah.
They do a little bit more class politics, and so the Green Party is inconsistent on different countries. Sometimes in some countries they can be totally like pro-NATO, eco-fascist, and in some countries they can be pretty progressive. And in the UK, they are pretty progressive.
Yeah. I think like what was that? One of the things AOC said, like, Jill Stein hasn't won anything. I'm like, they actually run elections in their primary. Like they have, like they're not really called primaries. They're like, they all vote on who they want to be their, to represent them in the president.
Well, she was on some sort of healthcare board in Massachusetts way back when.
Yeah, no, she was.
Yeah.
She did a lot of health stuff. I actually, because I did like healthcare advocacy, and she would do the
Is she from Massachusetts?
No, she's originally from Michigan or something, but she's been living in Massachusetts for.
I don't think she's from Michigan. Let me check where she's from.
She's from like, I don't know. It's I can't remember.
Probably not from Michigan.
But yeah, but I think she went to school in Massachusetts and just stayed there.
She's from Chicago.
Chicago, okay, Illinois. So I think that I mean she's been here. She's been in Massachusetts since like at least the 2000s. I know that. But she did a lot of like. She would go to like the pipelines. Like she'll do she was doing like the environmental stuff, and the healthcare stuff. So I kind of like ran around in the same circles in ways with her, like back then. You know what I mean? Like
that makes sense.
Yeah. So because of whatever.
I really think she needs to take media training because, for example, like recently with the Angela Rye interview, it's not that hard to know that there are 435 members of Congress. I don't know why she flubbed that question.
I think I know that. I know that fact. And I will just say that there are times where I will lose a fact. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. The one that there are 435 members of Congress and 100 senators, to me, it's just like basic. It's like trying to remember what's the capital of.
I remember 535, and I know there's 100 senators, so there's 430.
There's 435 congressional representative, 100 senators, which make it 535.
Yeah, that's
Nate Silver's website.
Yeah, that's how I remember. So.
Oh, that's how you. Okay.
You did something right.
Now I understand where 535 comes from.
So then that's how I always kind of remembered it. But I don't know. I may flub on something like that if someone asked me on the spot. But like, also, it's not on the spot because you're on a freaking. You're going on there, so you really have to have like a clear head and have.
Well, okay. Well, like today, I kind of flubbed on Russian grammar. I said "na vaynya" instead of. No, that was correct. Actually, I didn't flub on Russian grammar. When one interview in Russian, I blanked on a word. for to start. I said начинай. I used the wrong word, but it doesn't matter. I have blanked in interviews in Russian before.
Well, that makes perfect sense, Asha. I'm not.
I haven't blanked on interviews in English ever.
I blank on English, so you know.
What?
I blank on English. I just blank.
Yeah. In English, I've never blanked. So I don't understand why she had to blink.
No, she should have been. But she also had she knew that was going to be a gotcha interview too. Like there.
Yeah, so she should have been. Like I don't know. It seems like okay. So then I remember in 2016 she said something like quantitative easing is like a magic trick. And she didn't have to say that. She said she should have said, "Well, quantitative easing is a procedure used to lower interest rates, created by the federal blah blah blah." And she didn't have to say it's like a magic trick because it made it seem like wookie when they use quantitative easing all the time in order to change interest rates.
Yeah. Like I mean, in that sense, like yeah, she needs to be much clearer on things. Like she needs to, like saying it's a magic trick is like saying people are too dumb to understand it. Like just explain.
Well, no, it sounds like she is not clear enough in the facts herself.
Like she didn't know how to. Okay, so she was just saying it that way, like
because she didn't know it. But it's not that hard to understand quantitative easing. It's like it's just look up the Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I also don't see where. Like Kamala has been asked, Kamala has been asked that.
I know she of course won't be asked that because she's like okay, so basically what happens is that like if there are bonds, they suck up the bonds and then that changes the interest rates. So that's quantitative. But Kamala won't be asked that. But she also, any question she asks, she starts with, I grew up in a middle class household. Like, it's like, come on, that's like not a policy. Like that does not, I don't care how you grew up. How you grew up does not change what does not matter about what policy you're going to implement.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you're, like, I grew up in a middle class household, but I also know the policies I would implement that, like, maybe a middle class person wouldn't think that they need it. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. But it's like doesn't matter how you like. That's like her go-to answer. She doesn't have a policy on her website with her and Waltz. Like, and the thing is that Waltz has really good policies in Minnesota. Like the universal breakfast and lunch thing was good. They did like if people make less than $50,000 and you choose to enroll in a state college in Minnesota, you can go debt free. So they've done a lot of good policies in Minnesota, and she could just like tout Waltz's policies as things that she will. Oh, I guess that means they'll have to do it nationally.
Yeah, because that would be the Democrats' policy. Obviously, the Democrats right now are changing their policy if they're taking things down from their entire website.
So I guess she doesn't want universal breakfast is such an easy thing to run on. Like universal breakfast, who's gonna say no to breakfast for kids?
They're not. She's not gonna do that though. Like I mean, it's like because
it doesn't hurt anybody's class interests.
But it's all the it should be means tested, or what if rich kids get some breakfast?
Who cares? Yeah, everyone should get breakfast, and rich kids should get breakfast too.
Every child should eat. Well, no,
and that's the thing. In Minnesota, Tim Waltz did universal breakfast, where it doesn't matter. Every kid goes and you get free. Like at school, you get free breakfast.
And breakfast costs, I mean, I get that the food costs are horrendous right now, but breakfast you can do pretty cheap. It's not, it's not like that.
I still think universal breakfast is a good policy because kids who are hungry just can't learn. And yeah, every morning there should be school breakfast.
Yeah. No, there should be. No, it's an excellent policy, and they really, even if she just said that, you know what, Waltz did this, it worked really well. I want to look into that to do it, nationally. And a lot of people would be like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And food cost is expensive, so having kids eat breakfast and lunch in school is going to save a lot of money for a lot of parents who are
When
struggling.
you're looking for the millennial and Gen Z to vote, they're the ones that have the school age kids right now.
Exactly.
It's not the Gen X. It's not the Boomers. It's the the younger millennials right now, and the Gen Z are the ones that have the kids that are in grade school.
Yeah, I was looking in China, and in China, like they want kids to not only like learn regular things, but they want to learn have them learn like life skills. So they actually teach kids how to cook lunch and breakfast and like do basic things like cut out. So the kids actually prepare their own meals as a part of the curriculum.
Yeah. That was always
they get all free meals in school for free.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We did have home ec when I was growing up. So 7th and 8th grade, we did. We took it was you would have, but they actually had to do. You had to do woodworking. You had to do sewing. So no matter if it was a boy or a girl, you had to do sewing, cooking, woodworking, and what was the other guy one that we did? Oh, we did something with metal. I don't know. We did some metal stuff.
That sounds like good skills to learn. Let me get some more drinks.
Yeah. So it was like so all of us had to take these because you did like 2 semesters. So you had 1 year you had like sewing and cooking, and 1 year you had like metal working, and what was the other one I said? Oh no.
It looks like I guess a lot of schools don't have that due to budget cuts. By the way, Booker will join us shortly for those of you who are waiting.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like we really should go back to having programs like that.
I have an idea. Sam Cedar used to do this thing called a random rush, where he would like listen in on Rush Limbaugh. And now that Sam Cedar's like gotten so liberal, let's just do a random Sam.
Okay.
Let me send you. Just play 30 seconds, and if he says anything worth debunking or anything stupid, we will. We'll do that.
All right, I'm waiting for it.
While we wait for Booker, I just saw this. Like I was looking up Twitter, and it's like it says Sam Cedar's on, and he used to be not so bad when Michael Brooks was still alive, but then he's ever since he got Emma as his I think he really depends on his sidekick.
Yeah, and I don't. Emma's like.
Emma has a lot of errors. Sometimes I think she's a little careless. Like when she once said that Kamala Harris, like some sort of Palestinian policy, and her national security advisor disagreed with Emma. So, and she has a liberal bent, but let's see, 30 seconds.
Okay.
If you're saying anything cringy. Because, like I said, Sam Cedar was pretty good when Michael was his sidekick, because Michael was a real leftist. But then I think he really depends a lot on his sidekicks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's play.
The office. And here she is.
So malicious, so disrespectful to Donald Trump and Melania Trump. They've taken it so far. And, if I was...
And I should be clear that she is responding to people maybe speculating about the nature of their relationship. I mean, Trump says she's just a supporter. J.D. Vance says she has nothing to do with the campaign.
Okay, he's not actually doing anything debunkable. Okay.
Oops, sorry. I have to get this off the... All right, there we go.
Or liberal. Laura Loomer is a mess. And apparently she is one of the top advisors to Trump, and she helped him in the debate prep.
Supposedly, and then he said that she has nothing to do with him.
Oh, okay, good.
I had nothing to do with him.
I only know her because she was she a Pizzagate or something like that?
Yeah, she was definitely she is just she did like wasn't she one of the ones that supported like the ones that were get it, like going after the immigration and stuff. And
Yeah. Oh, was she the one who tried to like do something on the boat or something like that?
yeah, that's who I think. I think that's who that is. Like, 'cause she was from here, but it was for the UK people, and yeah.
Okay. So I hope she. I mean, she doesn't seem that smart. So I hope she's not. I hope Trump is smarter than that than to use her as debate prep.
I don't know why you would use her. Like she has like
no skills.
Yeah, nothing to add. So I don't know why you would even use her. So it's it's like I don't know. Because she was pushing like. Like for him, he should say, "Oh yeah, she did help me because he did push the dog and cat eating thing." You know what I mean? Like,
the Haitian,
Elon was pushing it before the debate. Elon kept pushing it. So it was out there from Elon and her and stuff like that about, and it doesn't even make sense. And then you have Marianne Williamson. Oh my god.
Okay. Oh, I saw that. She said something about
voodoo.
Yeah, and that is like such a lie because voodoo is.
They don't do that in voodoo. Like that is not. They don't eat cats and dogs in voodoo. Like that is not even a thing they do. Like that.
No, it's just a different kind of spiritual practice where they kind of call upon ancestors to help as an intermediary to God.
It's still such bigotry because you don't even understand. Like now you're coming down on a religion that like you don't understand because it's been because they use it in the ways that they use it. Like it's so scary. It's so whatever.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. It's just so weird. All right.
It is really weird. Is Booker here?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
Okay, I hope he comes. Otherwise, we'll wait for him for another 10 minutes, and if he doesn't come, we'll have to apologize for our audience, and we'll retitle it.
Yeah. But yeah, so
voodoo. Yeah, I was looking up. It's basically some sort of ancestral worship that began in Benin, and it was brought over by enslaved people in Haiti, and it was a way of keeping their religion while also, like, they were forced to convert to Christianity, but they still kept elements of their native religion.
It's like how in China they have like ancestry religions, like they worship their ancestors, and one of the ways that the Christians had to go about it in some of the Asian countries were to allow for the ancestry worship too. So it's the same thing. Like it's just like calling on your ancestors to help you in your guide you in your life, in your religion and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So I just
it's like supposed to be like an intermediary between you and God because your ancestors have been here before and now they're in heaven or something like that. Yeah.
It's I read into a lot of this stuff. I have a friend who was in Wiccan and stuff like that. And you know me, I like reading, so like I do the academic end of learning this stuff. I have never like personally met someone that practices it, but like I can tell you, there's not any accounts of them eating cats and dogs for voodoo. That doesn't.
That's just preposterous.
It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Mm. So, what else? Let's see. What else can we talk about while we wait?
I don't know. I'm gonna do. So we're gonna talk on disability on the collective show, but we're gonna like kind of talk about lumping too, like from like the Black Panthers perspective of like using the, tapping into the lumpen proletariat and stuff.
Somebody said, true. I have heard about Germany specifically, but probably anywhere in Europe is cheap for Americans. I'm not sure about the additional requirements besides just showing up. Oh, it's for studying, university. Somebody says, I'm thinking about going to college in Vietnam or China. As of right now, I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out. And in a lot of, I think China has a lot of foreign students. So they actually have a program before you start university where they have like immersive Chinese, like where they teach you Chinese and then you could go and learn university. Go to university.
Yeah, no, I've heard those programs too. Yeah, Petamello was actually talking about this like last week.
Yeah, so I think I don't think you need to know Chinese before you go, but once you're in the university, they'll make sure you know.
Yeah, like we knew someone that went to Spain, didn't really know Spanish, but went there as an English teacher and knew enough Spanish, but not, but went there as an English teacher. I don't know if you.
No, I mean, in China, I know they have like thousands of African students, and it seems like they first teach them Chinese for a year or so, and then they go to university for their other program.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And usually, if you live in a country, you pick up the language really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. you kind of have to figure it out. So, yeah. All right, what do you want to give them to? Quarter past or?
What?
What do you want to give him to? Like,
give what to?
Give Booker to.
Is Booker here?
No.
We'll give him like 5 more minutes.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. So we're
sorry about this, kids, listeners. We tried our best. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough though. I'm sure
getting arrested and being in jail and all that, it like creates problems and who knows what other, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll just get him, later on if he doesn't come up, we'll, be able to get him later on.
Okay. Yeah. What else? So yeah, and I'm not sure, Vietnam probably has similar programs too, where they'll make sure you know Vietnamese before you go to university. But I just know in China, they already have that because there are many, many African students who go study in China. There are actually a lot of African students who study in university here in Russia too.
Yeah. I remember like when I went to, I went into engineering it was University of Lowell and it changed to UMass Lowell while I was there. But I remember like there were groups of like in my study group we had a Chinese guy who he was not born here, but he came over here really young, so he went through school here, so he had good English. And what they did is he actually would do study group with us and also study group with the Chinese students. So that helped them, because they didn't know English as well. So I'm sure there's always like groups like that too. Like that's why like on campuses you always have like, like a Chinese and American group, you have like that groups there because you can go to those groups and, find out people that can help you. So.
Exactly. Let's see if there's any other comments. Sorry, I feel so bad for you that we did this. Somebody said, okay, I'm waiting for my FAFSA. Yeah, those are annoying. Somebody else said, out-of-state tuition is much higher than in-state. So go to a state school in your state and only choose no, don't choose whatever you want as your, well, it depends on your goals, actually. Look at what your goals are. If you want to get like, it really depends on what you want to gain out of education. And then if you want to be employable, yes, you probably should pick a STEM major. So it really depends on why you're going to college.
Yeah. Because I ended up being kind of a career student. I just kept going back and taking courses. I enjoy learning stuff. So I just kept taking, and I never graduated in anything. Like I got into engineering. I didn't graduate in engineering because I had a health thing happen to me. So then that put me off for a couple of years. And then, like I had been in art school. I had been in like I have done like all that stuff. So, but yeah, if you need, I also have the privilege of the fact that I was born in 1970 and I didn't actually need in the 90s, you could get away with having experience instead of having a degree in certain jobs. So.
Yeah. So, like I said, it really depends on your goals. So there's no one right or wrong way. Just don't go to the for-profit colleges. Those are a scam.
Yeah. All right. You want to?
Okay. So I guess Booker is not coming. We will reschedule with him. We apologize, and we will figure out. Janet and I will just talk this week and figure out our programming for the rest of the week.
Yeah. We'll figure out when. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
we have some
that,
ideas.
I will say have a good rest of the week, and sorry about this disappointment.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.